The the personal and profoundly painful story shared by Kemi Badenoch, the Conservative leader and the former business secretary, she said in an interview that her cousin, her 20-something cousin, had committed suicide after falling down an internet rabbit hole and ending his life. His story is not just an individual tragedy. It's a mirror held up to the ungoverned chaos of online extremism and the seductive pill of nihilistic philosophy. It's also a warning about the unintended consequences of unchecked digital exposure. Badenoch's cousin was living alone in Canada, and by her account, he became increasingly absorbed in fringe online communities, particularly those advancing pro-mortalism, the belief that the eradication of humanity is a moral good, and anti-natalism, the argument that bringing children into the world is inherently unethical. These are not merely abstract philosophical positions. They can become ideological cul-de-sacs where despair is rationalized and self-destruction moralized. He wrote what Badenoch describes as an extraordinarily lucid letter before his death in 2022, a haunting indication that his suffering had been intellectualized, perhaps even aestheticized by the content he assumed. This was not madness, but over-rationalized nihilism, something that makes it all the more chilling. The impact on Badenoch was seismic. She now openly admits she worries a lot about social media, not merely for children, but for adults too. If adults find it addictive, she asks, what chance do kids have? It's this tragedy that is shaping her policy instinct. She floated the idea of following Australia's lead by banning children under 16 from using social media. And this is a controversial proposition, not least for its enforcement challenges, but it reflects a growing appetite among politicians across the spectrum to take stronger regulatory action. I don't think the problem is. I think she's got she's got a response to a reaction to this awful story, which is slightly skewed. The problem isn't addiction. The problem is what people are addicted to. We can be addicted to perfectly harmless things, and we can be addicted to terrifying and awful things. Badenoch's concerns are echoed by educators. A new NASUWT survey reveals that nearly 60% of UK teachers believe social media is the primary cause of deteriorating behaviour in schools, and teachers report seeing the effects: misogyny inspired by figures like Andrew Tate, increased defiance, tribalism, and desensitisation to violence or empathy. It's not just that children misbehave, it's that they're being shaped by values diametrically opposed to those taught in schools. And this, paired with the rise of far-right and populist movements using online gaming, memes, and encrypted messaging to recruit the young, creates a potent and toxic mix. The internet is not neutral. It's not a library. It's a distorting mirror, often wielded by the worst actors with the loudest voices. And the problem is that the sort of sane part of society isn't really exploiting social media in the same way. So children have very little choice about the sort of rubbish that they watch and that they're exposed to. And that, I think, is the problem. So schools and parents and well-meaning adults look at social media and say it all has to go. We have to stop it. Well, we can't stop it. So there is an alternative, and that is that we have to add something which is potent and which is solid and which is strong and positive. And there's not enough of that being done because the people who are complaining think, oh, let's just distance ourselves from it. Let's pretend it's not there. Or let's say it's all bad. And children know absolutely that it's not all bad. Badenoch's position is not without its ironies. A politician often championing free speech and deregulation now calls for government intervention in one of the most complex spheres of modern life, and something that goes beyond our national borders. It's a pivot from libertarian instincts to conservative paternalism, a shift not unlike that seen in other right-leaning leaders like Ron DeSantis or Giorgia Meloni. The question we must ask is not whether regulation is desirable, but whether it's feasible. And who should be held responsible? Parents, platforms, governments, or perhaps all of these? Kemi Badenoch's story is harrowing, but it's also timely. It serves as a call to seriousness, a reminder that the digital world is no longer a playpen or a playground. It's a battlefield for identity, for sanity, and for meaning. Her cousin's fate is a tragedy. But if it becomes the catalyst for more profound reckoning with the ethical architecture of the internet, then maybe some good may yet emerge from the darkness of that rabbit hole. We should demand better, not only from tech giants, but from ourselves, from policymakers and our educators, because every click has a consequence, and sometimes, heartbreakingly, a fatal one.